welcome to RSA 2023. We are back in BlackBerry, here in the BlackBerry booth, and we're very excited to have everybody with us. I'm Steve Kofsky, I'm editorial director of BlackBerry, and I have a very special guest with me today.
So I'm the BlackBerry's Chief Information Security Officer, and I'm excited to be here to participating in this conference.
And Arvind, you joined BlackBerry fairly recently.
Correct. I joined in January 2023, so it's been close to 4 months. It's been an exciting journey so far, and excited to be here.
Now, tell us a little bit, what was your decision process coming to BlackBerry? You've had a distinguished career as a CISO for some very large companies. What attracted you to BlackBerry?
Yeah, so in my career, I guess, as you mentioned, I've done retail, finance, technology industries. And BlackBerry being the brand name, the innovation, the security-focused company, I've always been attracted towards it. And when the opportunity came by, I definitely wanted to see how it is and explore that, and here I am.
CISOs are facing a lot of challenges right now.
Correct.
And I think there's 5 challenges that you've pointed out in some of your columns. Could you recap what do you think are the top challenges that CISOs face?
There's a lot more than 5. But if I were to look at current state of affairs, there is, I would say, top 5 risks and challenges all CISOs face, especially in the technology industry. Starting with the third-party risks, right? We use many third parties, 4th and 5th parties, but it's generally classified as third party. How well can an organization, understand the third parties they're using, and managing the risks around third parties is key to avoiding a data breach and being in the news, as we have seen recently. And the second one is, definitely technology-related risks, such as ransomware and so on, right? That is prevalent, continues to increase, and ransomware is no longer just, encrypting and crippling your systems. It's more about data exfiltration and taking your key data out of the organization. So organizations need to be prepared for dealing with ransomware-related risks and how to deal with it if and when it happens, right? It's more of when than if, but if and when it happens. The third one on the list, I would say, is definitely business disruption risks. When you're hosting a service or a product, potential DDoS attack on those services and products that you do have, that is a big risk. So your organization should take appropriate approach to protect the assets and services from potential DDoS attacks. And then, from a product company or a technology company or a service company perspective, vulnerabilities related to the products and services that you offer could be exploited, and that could be used against you, from a cyber attack perspective. So you got to be cognizant of that, figure out how well you can manage the product vulnerability and service vulnerability risks. And then last but not the least, the compliance and legal risks that you deal with it, right? Regulations continue to change, and it's hard to understand what happened last year compared to this year, so you got to keep on top of that from a regulatory legal perspective and make sure you understand what are the different challenges and how best to manage them. So those are my top 5 risks, and the best would be to organizations to understand and project it on a potentially a heat map kind of a thing to see where they are on the risk scale and where are the investments, and does the investments kind of match the risks. So that's the best way to assess it.
That's a lot.
Yes.
And there's a potential for sort of a perfect storm scenario where I can see many of those risks coming together. There could be a ransomware attack that hits a third party in your supply chain.
Correct.
And it causes a stoppage, interruption in business continuity, and this could cause a compliance issue. Your data could be exfiltrated. Did I miss any?
No, I think you got it all. And the world continues to change, right? So we keep getting new technologies and new innovations, but then that comes with new risks. So we have to be ready for that and keep learning. And CISOs are never bored, if you will, right? Security organizations, security professionals, and security vendors, they're always on top of what's happening around the world to understand how best to protect themselves and the organizations they support.
So I think many of the people here at this RSA event, there's many CISOs here, there's many security professionals that might aspire to become a CISO. And I know in your career, you've made a point to participate in organizations that mentor CISOs. What are the career prospects for the CISO? What's the career path for the CISO? What advice do you have for the next generation?
Other than having sleepless nights, but no, in all fairness, CISOs are exciting jobs, but the career path could be different ways you can get there. Like I started my career in technology, R&D development space, right? But then I moved into hardware security and then into the information security space. But what I make sure I did was my experiences to do different type of industries, to learn different skill sets, if you will, and different ways of approaching security. That helps. Having some technology background helps, but more importantly, the CISOs these days have to be business oriented. How do I focus on enabling the business while managing the risks for the organization? That balance is never easy. CISOs not so long ago was a technical job. It's no longer a technical job, right? Lots of CISOs, including myself, report directly to the CEO, which means you need to have that business acumen and business ability to talk to the leaders of the organization and your peers. So that's a key component. But I think what you can do best for yourself and to learn to become a CISO is put yourself in different roles, whether it is product marketing, whether it is product technology, product development, and kind of learn from a different angle on how well you can actually support the organization.
I think that's excellent advice, and you're so right that the C in CISO has really come to the forefront. You really are part of the C-suite in this role and very key to the business decisions that are driving the company forward. It's an exciting time to be a CISO.
It is, and it can also come with their own challenges, right? But what I noticed, definitely from a security technology vendor perspective, the CISOs definitely have the C-level, a position in the organization. Some of the other CISOs, depending on the organization, not necessarily the same level, but more important, at the end of the day, CISOs are equally important no matter what the organization size is or the industry is, right? Their job is to primarily balance the risk and the enabling the business opportunities perspective, right? It's no longer just protecting the organization. You have to find the right balance.
There's another facet to it as well. I wonder if you would agree, and that is you're also called upon to be an educator.
Yeah.
You're not only educating your user base, but educating the board.
Yep.
And up and down throughout the organization.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about awareness and education to one, yourself about the business, and two, to educate the leaders above you and the board on the key risks that an organization would face and how best to protect the organization. But also your team, right? Where your peers and across the organization, at the end of the day, CISO's job is to be the evangelist, the business focused professional, if you will, and help the organization defend with multi-layered defense, right? As they say, end users are the last line of defense, but you should never depend on end users as the entire defense mechanism, but they are a key component, and we have to make sure they understand the risks and challenges that come with the digital world. And I have a favorite quote I normally use: in the digital world, you can never eliminate cyber risk, you can only manage it, right? So I continue to use that wherever I go.
Do you have any advice, any message you'd like to give to the attendees, the ones that are here at RSA and the ones maybe around the world that are going to be listening to this?
My principal advice is that, don't take it for granted on what worked in the previous organization would work in the next organization. It is custom for that organization.
That is a great piece of advice, and I think you want that from your security products as well, from the systems you use. They need to be customizable. If you can't order off the shelf necessarily.
As with any of the rest of the world, right, the goal is to do more with less. Right? That's been the mantra, and I think BlackBerry is in a good spot to partner with with their key vendors or by themselves to offer the solutions to the organizations to help with that. So I'm excited to be part of the journey, and I'm excited to help the organization balance the business enablement and risks.
That's going to do it for this episode of BlackBerry Live, and we want to thank you very much for tuning in. Tune back in for more.